carry, and I do agree with the desk. I think that the meta has insulated their strengths a little bit more. Xiaowao has always looked like a good top laner, and now it's his time to shine.
Let's see if this game is his time to shine as we head into Champion Select for game number 1 between Rogue Warriors and SNG Gaming. Sejuani, Kog'Maw, and Rise, the first 3 bans that come out from SNG Gaming, whereas we have Zoe, Vladimir, and the man that you predicted to be on the bench, Tahm Kench.
Tahm Kench has to hit that bench. Vladimir also gone from Xiaowao. He's played it 3 times so far in the LPL in his 5 games, so not a surprise to see it removed given how well he's been playing with it. You saw the highlights earlier.
And is Kog'Maw just an SMLZ ban here? We know it's a hyper carry. We know it's played in the LCK, but he is known for that champion.
He's definitely a hyper carry player, and Kog'Maw is one of his signature picks.
Well, Rogue Warriors do lock in Malzahar as one of their first picks. This is the champion that we commonly see banned during the first rotation of bans, instantly picked up for Doinby.
And it does feel really dependent on the team as to if Malzahar is a super high priority. Yesterday he was getting last picked, he even skipped through an entire pick ban phase untouched. It looks like Doinby's got a higher preference on that, and it makes a lot of sense with Doinby's playstyle being so roam-centric.
Yeah, it seems like SNG Gaming more afraid of the Rise, which is one of Doinby's well-known picks in the mid lane. They banned that out first. Taking away Sejuani from Flawless as well. Their first 2 picks are going to be Ezreal as well as Alistar. Most likely Fury and Yoon's champions in the bottom lane.
Now, it should be the bottom lane for the team. Ezreal has very rarely been seen in the jungle. And speaking of bottom lanes, Fish, Rogue Warriors have decided to match it before we get to the second ban phase.
Kalista as well as Braum being locked in for the bottom lane of SMLZ and Kahlua, as well as Corki being picked up here for SNG Gaming in the mid lane.
Super early pick of the Corki. I don't think Corki's a bad matchup by any means into the Malzahar. You're lacking in the crowd control department, but super safe character, can build a Hex Drinker if he's losing lane and he really needs to go defensively. Has got push as well, so can match the roam that Doinby will have on that on the Malzahar. Doesn't necessarily need the teleport either. He can go towards exhaust for lane pressure and just get the package every 5 minutes after the 8-minute mark.
They also already have the Ezreal picked up, so Ezreal and Corki working well together to provide some poke for the team whenever they decide to siege up on these turrets. Now, in the second ban phase for these 2 teams, Camille hits the bench. This is the champion that we saw commonly banned during the first week in the first ban rotation, and Nidalee being banned out here against Flawless.
I would say a ban of necessity, Camille, and I am a little bit surprised that we didn't see it locked in at all in the first pick phase for either of these teams, but not wanting to show their hand in the top lane just yet. Xiaowao and SNG Gaming being on Red's side may look towards the counter pick for just him, is the only solo lane left, so that makes a lot of sense. And Rogue Warriors don't want to show it too early, and they want to actually be able to perhaps ban some champs away from SNG.
We have Gangplank, the final ban coming in from SNG Gaming before they get their first pick in the second rotation. Ornn still left up and available as a top lane pick for either of these 2 players. And Jarvan is the final ban that comes out from Rogue Warriors.
There is a Kha'Zix as a possibility for pick in the jungle position, as is the Lee Sin that Raz was mentioning on the desk for Tien. If he wants to play that, Flawless can answer with a very similar champion of his own, and it does feel like between these guys, we're going to have a carry-off in the jungle. There is a chance, however, knowing SNG Gaming, that they do something a bit different.
Let's see what their first pick is going to be. Hovering over the Zac, quickly changing over towards Na, locked in for Xiaowao in the top lane.
Meaning they give their jungler their last pick here. Xiaowao has priority, wants to pick the Na, mostly as a denial for a Mouse as well as just a strong champion that has an overall good laning phase. Nothing really counters the Na. There are some that do well into it, but the direct counter still means that Na will pretty much just survive if he plays well.
Which does mean Ornn is left open and locked in for Mouse top side of the map. Ornn, one of those champions that just has a strong laning phase regardless and should be fine up into Xiaoao's Na. The final pick for Rogue Warriors will be their jungler of choice. Flawless has picked up that Lisa, and you mentioned the Kha'Zix is available as well, and it will be the Kha'Zix that Rogue Warriors go towards.
Yeah, Malzahar, Kalista, Braum, and Ornn provide a whole host of crowd controls, so the jungler doesn't feel the necessity to have crowd control of his own. It means it can be the R-Max Kha'Zix running around the jungle and providing a lot of damage early game for the rest of his team as they start to scale. I like the Rogue Warriors team composition when you look at how they get from early game to late game and who carries and has the roles and responsibilities throughout all of that. But it does feel like that damage would start to drop off against the composition that SNG Gaming have got.
And SNG Gaming's final pick was Zac. Tan will be picking up that champ, but we've seen it played in the LPL already in week 1. Not to fantastic success. In fact, it looked like Bilibili Gaming, when they picked up the champion, were not proactive with it at all. Let's see if Suning can do the opposite and actually make some plays with the champion. But you'll talk about Rogue Warriors' team composition, how they have that good synergy from early game to late game. How exactly do they bridge that gap, Rusty?
Well, that's where the Kha'Zix does come into play. You can rush lethality, you can go for the RMAX first, you can invade in the jungle, and you can try and find Tien, in this case, as the Zac, and be aggressive, even from level 2 if you would like, go towards his buffs. Zac is a very exploitable champion when it comes to the early jungle clear with how slow he does it, and the fact that he wants to prioritize the big camps. If he goes for the Raptors, he may actually die at the Reds. So it's super important for the early game for SNG Gaming that they have the proper vision in place to prevent any kind of invades from happening. Otherwise, that early game's there from Kha'Zix, that mid game's there from Kalista with 1 item, Malzahar's always relevant from 6, and Ornn, especially if he gets ahead, unstoppable.
Well, seems like Rogue Warriors have a well-rounded team composition heading into game number 1. Suning, almost equally so. You know, you've got Ezreal, Corki, two good poke champions. You've got the Alistar, you've got the Zac, the 2 beefy frontliners. Then the Nah is a little bit in between.
You call it a kind of poke composition, Ezreal and Corki. I feel like the big reliance here for Suning is getting the Corki ahead so that he does have a lot of relevant damage. Otherwise, I feel like the damage would start to drop off just a little bit. Granted, there's 3 carries on that roster. The Ezreal will start to do a whole host of work, but he has to stack the tier. Corki has to get the Trinity Force, and Nah has to get the Black Cleaver. That's a long time to wait against an early aggressive comp the Rogue Warriors could have. I respect you.
Still some diehard fans here in the audience today. Monday, 5 o'clock, Rusty, and people are still flocking in to watch these 2 teams play live from the Super Brand Mall where the LPL arena is in Shanghai.
Yeah, credit to them all for being here at all. It's a very difficult time to find yourself at a venue and ready. And now we're onto the Riftfish. There is something that immediately comes to my attention that we need to look at, and that is the 2 minion dematerializers in the bottom lane for Suning. And yes, there is one in the top lane for Ornn. I can see you pointing that one out, but Yoon has it. It's like he's too afraid to step up to the minions, and he wants to use it on the cannon so that Fury can't have it, and he gets the relic stacks. It is a double relic bottom lane, so it's not the worst choice, yet I always find myself wondering, like, what does a support gain by getting 4+% extra damage to minions? And is the Alistar just going to walk up, max pulverize, and try and help the Ezreal have wave clear? Is that his greater purpose? Doesn't feel right or sit right with me. I think it just means that he knows he's going to lose lane so hard, and he still wants to get that extra gold by guaranteeing himself cannons.
Well, let's see what Yoon can do in the bottom lane. He is running the Unsealed Spellbook once again, which we've seen many Alistars do since Ming picks it up in the LPL for RNG. Top side of map, you already mentioned, Mouse has picked up his own Unsealed Spellbook, starting with Ignite to kick things off. He also has that minion dematerializer.
He does, and being an Ornn, of course, being a tank in the top lane, Maokai is one of the other champions that will go for that, is to help clear the cannons as well, so you can clear the rest of the minions very successfully. Maokai with his Q, Ornn with every single spell that he has, also clears them, so gets rid of the cannon, can control lanes, and this is a kind of matchup thing where you're against the Nah who will push you in. It helps you deal with the wave clear and try and match it if he wants to push and disappear.
You can only see very early into the match. Mid lane, Corki has a good push in onto the Malzahar. Flawless hits level 3 nice and early. Moves straight over towards Scuttlecrab, whereas Tien still farming through his jungle. He went blues to wolves, now on his raptors, taking some time with that. Mouse, however, doing fine top side of map. Minion dematerializer used already, and still more trading in the mid lane between these 2.
And a near full clear for the junglers, except for the Gromp and the Scuttle on the bottom side of Suning. Flawless actually gets priority on the top lane Scuttlecrab himself, and shifts up his clear as well, but he didn't go for invade. No aggressive vision to be placed down. Just a much more standard full clear to be seen from both of them. That's one of those things that he just...
Yep, he just rubber hand the Krugs over the wall.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's not going to be clearing that one out, but does make his way towards top side of the map. Still staying on this top side as Ornn is pushed in. Mid lane though, Knight heavily keeping Doinby under heavy pressure in this mid lane, making sure he's forced to farm underneath his own turret.
One of the best ways to play the Corki, of course. He swapped towards the teleport. He decided that instead of the exhaust for kill pressure in the lane, he wants to push in, expend his health as a resource to keep Doinby under the ropes and then come back with the teleport. He can also use the package much more aggressively in side lanes and not feel like it's too big of a risk in situations like this now. It does mean that without the exhaust, if Kha'Zix appears in the middle lane, there is a higher chance that he will die, however.
And Fleet Footwork was the mastery picked up by Knight, so not going to see any teleports come out from an unsealed spellbook. Bottom lane, SMLZ and Kahlua were able to push in early, but now Fury as well as Yoon are pushing back quite aggressively, but Flawless is waiting in the wings.
Flawless has been spotted, and instead of running straight in, even though the gank was possibly there, he does show the bit of respect and a bit more caution, and doesn't choose to take the gank as Tian mid.
Goes straight in, knocks out Doinby. He uses the heal, but gets a good knockback onto the minions. Doinby low force to flash away. Knight does not follow through a flash of his own, but Doinby using both summoner spells.
It's still a massive win for SNG Gaming. Tian actually finds that gank early. Flawless has to come in here mid just to collect the minions. If nothing else, the experience is what he's going to gain for himself. Pretty much nothing available for Doinby. Both summoners gone. Big win for SNG.
Yeah, Knight's going to have a good advantage from that. You can already see 1 level up as well as 10 CS. Tian going to try and use this time to get some counter jungling going with his mid laner present. And Flawless actually takes way too many of those small raptors.
The kind of presence of bringing Corki about is just because he has the teleport and they want to deny all of it from Flawless, regardless of who gets it from SNG Gaming. They were sharing experience in the middle lane anyway, so ultimately trying to push that pressure of bringing Flawless mid and doing B to base, accentuate it, get a little bit extra for themselves. Flawless though, knowing this fact, knowing full well that Zack's half health and Knight has no mana, just walks into their jungle instead.
We'll stop Knight from going back to base. Meanwhile, bottom lane, SMLZ in some trouble. Yoon can't get the stun onto the carry, but Fury goes forward. He picks up first blood onto Kalista, gets some extra damage onto Kahlua while he's at it.
Super clean from Fury. He's also got 4 sacks of gold in his inventory as well, so a whole lot of money there for the Ezreal of SNG Gaming, and big moves early on in the game, and just the 2v2 kill.
Flawless is relentless. Tian and Knight have not gone back to base. Doinby is here. Tian in trouble. That's going to pop his passive, force the flash over the wall, but Knight following through, trying to get good damage onto Flawless. He flashes away, gets over to the blast cone. Doinby and Knight go at it. There's a lot of voidlings here. Knight's trying to cut this one back. Is there enough damage? He gets a small heal there. Still running away to Silence Field. Barely there, but Knight lives with a sliver of health.
The silence isn't going to get him, and Tian also just trying to pressure in this middle lane now. Corki has the teleport, so at the end of the day, Doinby also has to go back to base one more time and perhaps reset his mana pool. And the end result of the trade was also just fairly equal, realistically. And the passive gone from Zack. Bottom lane, of course, Fury has the flash and the E available to get the kill after he uses the heal to get some distance closed. Well done from Fury. Very difficult thing to predict from the side of Rogue Warriors, and dodge that at all.
Was able to not only weave in the Mystic shots through the minion wave, but good job from Yoon, gets the double knock up to start that. Moving back into the mid lane though, Knight had a nice advantage there, but capitalized by Flawless, but it's just been a bit of a brawl in this mid lane so far.
And a random piece of information for those watching as well that will make a bit more sense for the state of the bottom lane. If you see a minion dematerializer for the support and he hasn't actually gone towards the magical footwear, which they often want to have because it's free boots, he may rush Mobies because he wants to get boots earlier than the 10-minute mark. You can't buy them before that point. And he's got them now as Flawless is in the mid lane.
Goes for a gank. There's that level 6 from Doinby. Knight is in trouble. Forced the Valkyrie and flash away. Now very low on health.
Again, so much pressure, but not a lot of kills. It's 0-1 on the scoreboard. But everyone's being forced back. Everyone in the middle lane in the jungle is trying to pressure each other and push each other further and further behind. But their CS values are still relatively high because the timing has been okay on the recalls. They both have teleport. The real winner is Flawless. He's got an experience advantage at 6-5. Tian's now helping push the mid lane, and he's going to tick to 6 himself. And once again, at this point, now that Tian's come mid, pretty much back to equal besides the gold.
He's got a big CS advantage as well, as you mentioned, experience as well as gold. You see in the mid lane, Doinby using that unsealed spellbook to change to teleport to get back into the mid lane a bit quicker. And that bottom lane, you can already see, as you mentioned, Yoon was able to rush those Moby boots before 7 minutes in this match. So he will be able to roam around and move pretty quickly on this Alistar.
Feeling very good about himself by having those boots. It also helps for engagements in lane if you have control. The new runes do make Alistar super tanky, regardless of if he rushes mobility boots, where usually he would be quite susceptible to being engaged on by a Braum and a Kalista. And now that he's level 6 as well, even harder to take him apart. Yoon, also running Unsealed Spellbook, has chosen to stick with the Ignite for the moment to continue that added lane pressure on the Kalista running over hill. Hasn't gone for a teleport or for a ghost just yet.
Knight will pick up his first package as well as blue buff of the game. And I know that Rogue Warriors, they've played a few matches so far, 4 matches in the LPL, or 4 games I should say. And the 2 games they lost, Rusty, were games where Rogue Warriors did not have any early game tempo. Now 1,000 gold behind Suning. What do Rogue Warriors need to do here?
See, the gold doesn't actually reflect the amount of control that they have around the Rift as well. This is a dangerous time given the package that Corki has got, and that their bottom lane did get 2v2'd. But we also said that Flawless is a key factor to their success, and his invades have been successful, albeit super aggressive. It hasn't put him behind. He's got the slight gold advantage, and now he's able to steal away a red buff. So Flawless, he's doing his work to compensate for any points where they would be behind in tempo or losing on the map. He's trying to help quite a bit, and Mouse is also doing well in the top lane.
Let's see if they can get that tempo through the mid lane. Knight takes quite a bit of damage from Flawless.
Every time, half health.
Top side of map, Xiao and Mouse going at it in the top lane. There's the ultimate coming out from On. He's low on mana, redirects it the wrong way.
Yeah, you take that horn.
Relentless in pressure, forcing Mouse back to base.
I don't know if the kill was going to be there regardless. I feel like Xiao was not even slightly afraid of the horn. Mouse just completely whiffs it and walks away anyway. So we get a reset. That was the Gnar ultimate actually used as well at the start of that fight.
Meanwhile, Flawless looking to try and make a play on the bottom side of the map. Does go invisible, was spotted out by a ward though. And Mouse uses his teleport to get back into the top side of the map. SMLZ marching forward, does have Flawless here. Kalila will step up to the plate as well.
I think SMLZ accidentally hit the wrong target there as well. The Braum passive was gone from Yoon where they might have been looking for the stun. A lot of pressure being applied on the bottom side just by Kha'Zix's presence, alleviating a lot of that pressure that was placed onto SMLZ and Kahlua in the bottom lane 2v2. The CS is pretty much equal between them as well, the kill aside. It's just that Fury is a mighty large Ezreal, though the extra Klepto gold that he has been receiving.
Taking stock of things 10 minutes into the match, fairly even between Rogue Warriors and SNG Gaming. SNG Gaming have a slight gold lead of just under 1,000. And some curious items have been picked up, mostly in the mid lane. Knight going for the very early QSS against Doinby's Malzahar.
Well, look, when a Kha'Zix has been mid lane 6 times before level 6, you may want to rush that, just knowing that the second Doinby has his ultimate, he's probably coming back. In an educated guess, he may come back mid lane about 6 more times. So the super safe route here in Vladimization, we have seen this from some mid laners against Malzahar. You'll need the QSS eventually. Why not just rush it?
He does have a Sheen to back him up with some damage. Meanwhile, Yoon as well as Tian looking to see if they can duo a dragon, as Xiao Ao being very safe on the top side of the map, as Kha'Zix and Malzahar both went missing from the map.
It's the least impactful duo to ever touch a Drake in your entire life. Corki's now come over to contribute, so it will speed up the process of this Drake being done. And that 3-man pressure on the top side, Doinby got rid of his teleport for Ghost as well. So if they want, SNG Gaming could all in on the bottom side.
We'd already mentioned Rogue Warriors rely quite a bit, or have relied quite a bit on tempo to get the game going, but good response coming out from SNG. They get a dragon, they do take down the second turret of the match.
About 5 seconds behind, but it was the first turret gold for Rogue Warriors on the top side. It was shared gold, however, as they tried to rush it down. No individual member picks up a crazy amount of more gold. Okay. Xiao was trying to stop recalls by doing that, for the record.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
He was throwing it backwards so that it looked like he completely whiffed it. It's cute.
And Xiao is one of the players that we've talked about on the desk. We talked about it when we opened up this cast. He is somebody to watch, not only in his fancy and flashy plays, but also just then being very safe, making sure he was away from his outer turret, backing off so that he didn't fall to the 3-man combo.
That's the interesting part of this game so far. Xiao, yes, he was safe and he doesn't die. The bottom lane, the exact same thing. No one goes down there. When the trade was made from their respective opponents, the real victory was that the Drake was given over to SNG Gaming as well as the turret, and that was a Mountain Drake. So that will help amplify any further objectives and structures they want to take down. But the gold gets to equalize a bit more from RW, and you call that a win on their part as well, as to what they need to achieve in this game to stay in it.
And the added pressure we've seen from Flawless in the mid lane, helping out Doinby, has allowed Doinby to chip away at that mid lane outer turret. So although Rogue Warriors very slightly behind, do have some good pressure on the mid lane.
They certainly do. As they try and push around this middle lane as well, you look back towards the junglers, and Zach, you just saw Tian in the river, looking for an opportunity to gank. Of course, he was spotted by a ward, but he hasn't stopped hunting in the area, as he constantly tries to look. Now, Doinby is currently a decent target to aim for. You want to get the stopwatch from him, though, first. You don't want to all in for a kill unless you guarantee yourself able to get it. Bringing the bottom lane's a good way to do it.
Well, Ten's able to get behind Doinby, but whiffs the Q. Yoon is waiting in the wings well. He flashes in with the pulverized headbutt. Doinby popping his own stopwatch. Kahlua jumps in, but he gets delivered into the back lines by the Zac. Ultimate coming out from Malzahar, instantly QSS by the Knight who uses it on the Corki as Ornn jumps into the mid lane as well. Yoon in trouble. Going back in. Does lock down Doinby. Good damage. He's the first to fall in the fight. Second stopwatch being used by Mouse. He tries to charge away, but Fury picks up that kill. Knight even going further forward, and it's SNG Gaming to get the 2 kills.
SNG get the clean 2 kills. No trade available from Rogue Warriors, and they teleported in. They tried to be proactive in response to the engage of the Zac. Now they are made pay for it. The next turret goes down. The middle lane outer turret as well. Super crucial stuff here from SNG so far.
They're going to continue pushing this one through, making sure it gets denied by the turret in the inner side of the mid lane. Already Flawless trying to wrap around, getting to the backside of this map. Yoon in some trouble. Flawless is invisible on top of Tan, goes for Knight instead. Kahlua tries to jump forward, just forces the Valkyrie out of Corki in the end.
Flawless is being an absolute menace at the moment. We'll get to watch the replay again. Doinby uses both summoner spells to get out, sees Yoon, and doesn't reactively use the stopwatch either when the combo came about, uses it afterwards. Now, he's a lucky man that he wasn't inside that Zac ultimate, but the QSS from Knight's enough to disengage. From this point, you're done. Rogue Warriors don't need to keep going forward. Alistar has ultimate. Qian gets a 3-man knockup, smacks him together with his bloblets, and they just die for completely overextending. And the reason for it is there isn't one. They just thought they could do something and they couldn't.
SNG get 2 kills as well as the mid lane outer turret for their troubles. Rogue Warriors with Flawless stopping the recalls coming out from SNG nice and early, give them some time to pick up Rift Herald. That's going to be picked up by Flawless himself. Knight does have another package for himself.
Making the best of a bad situation there from Rogue Warriors to actually pick themselves up that Herald and stop those recall times. Of course, the Kha'Zix is a giant nuisance when he's leveled up his R first. He's invisible running around in the river or the jungle.
So this has given SNG close to 3,000 gold of an advantage over Rogue Warriors.
Synergy.
So they work together to clear out a couple of wards there. Xiao Ao still split pushing on the top side of the map, doing fine against Mouse. Has gone for the Iceborne Gauntlet first, which we see most Ornns pick up as early as they can.
I always wonder what supports are thinking in situations where they're 1v1 in a mid lane. It took Yoon a few seconds there to be like, hang on, what am I doing in this lane? I should probably leave and place vision and help my team achieve something. He was just trying to see if he could find someone from the other team. If they were going to push that lane, then they can rotate quicker. And if he doesn't see them, he actually has Moby Boots, so he'll be able to be the first person to arrive at another venue. Herald placed in the bottom lane, and Tian wants to engage if they consider using the Herald. Bit of a waste.
Gets a charge in, will knock down the bottom lane outer turret to about half health, but SNG very quick to react to the pressure coming out from Rogue Warriors in the bottom lane.
You'll take the damage if you're Rogue Warriors, but it feels really rough that they don't pick themselves up a structure from having the Herald. The mid lane outer turret would have been a much easier option for them to achieve that Herald in the first place, just because it is so far poked down. But instead, they choose to take, I'm going to say, a more risky route of getting both low. The opportunity is there to get both structures if they win a team fight now, but they need to win that fight.
Tian looking to see if he can clear out a couple of wards, looking to charge up as well. Flawless going to join this fight, defending his teammates. Good silence coming out from Doinby, but SNG still push in towards Rogue Warriors' red side of the jungle. Both split up now.
Doinby, no blue buff, running a little bit low on the mana there. If you start hitting champions, he's most likely going to run out of it.
And it's 10 seconds to an Infernal Drake, so both teams trying to group up around this objective. It sees control. As again, more poke coming out from Ezreal. Flawless has found Tian though, gets on top of him, but it's going to be Tian that jumps into the backlines. Instantly locked down by Doinby. He's forced to flash away as Tian uses his own stopwatch. Big Nah coming out from Xiao Ao, and Knight follows through with the damage to pick up the back half of this team fight. Flawless trying to do what he can, but it's just not enough. SMLZ falls. That's 3 kills to SNG.
The tanks are so far ahead. There's too many tanks and there's too much wombo from the team composition of SNG Gaming. They just walk at Rogue Warriors. The Zac gets the elastic slingshot, and Flawless, he can't kill anyone.
Well, he's stuck now. Fury as well as Yoon have found him, picking up the 4th kill of that prolonged team fight. Mouse trying to jump away. Xiao Ao almost gets enough damage down, but he gets out of time with the teleport. Big play coming out from SNG.
Yeah, Mouse will be able to survive in the end. The teleport was gone, as you mentioned, and a very delayed death of Flawless makes sure that the Infernal Drake is completely free and completely theirs. Knight is also pushing in the top lane as we speak and is going to get a lot of pressure with the Sheen onto this outer turret. He won't get it with this wave, but the next one's just about to crash. We get to see this again, and Tian goes in. It's good. Instant ult. You'll take that. but it's more so the Alistar that comes in immediately afterwards, gets the combo with the Mega Gnar specifically, and there is nothing they can do. A flash pulverized Xiao comes up huge, and from this point, Flawless has realized that he and Mouse have made a big mistake.
And that mistake has costed them not only a 5,000 goal lead for Suning, it's 7-0 in kills. Infernal Dragon taken down. And top lane outer turret now incredibly low. Suning just lining it up to be taken down later on. And really, Raz hit it on the desk. Fury and Yoon used to be carry players for the team. In this match, they picked up a 2-on-2 kill in the bottom lane. Xiao Ao's a player to watch, and that team fight kind of showed why. But for Rogue Warriors, who are we really looking for? Because SMLC and Kahlua didn't have the best laning phase. Mouse, you know, he was inactive top side of map for most of this game. Flawless and Doinby were so pracked at the mid lane, but barely got anything out of it.
I mean, look, philosophically, it's not exactly like SMLZ to lose lane in the way that they did. I don't know if he's too adept at playing with Kahlua yet. And if you don't know SMLZ as a player, he doesn't speak. He doesn't have emotions or react. So it's actually very hard to understand him and how he's going to work as Sunina going forwards.
Forcing another team fight. Tian does not get anyone with his ultimate, but Doinby falls straight away to the Corki. Another big Gnar in the backline. He flashes to get the triple stun into the wall. Sunina wiping the floor with Rogue Warriors. There's just nothing we can do. Quadra kill going to 9.
And straight at the Baron pit as well. The perfect position for a fight to happen. Rogue Warriors are hitting their spells, they're hitting their combos, but they're just too far behind to have any semblance of a fight. There is no opportunity for them. Baron's free, top lane outer turret will now go down, and Knights immediately move towards the middle lane. I'm pretty sure it's just bedtime for Rogue Warriors, and we're in game 1 of a best of 3.
It's looking just like that. It's almost a perfect game for them if it was not for the top embodied turret trade. Here's that fight that was forced by Suning.
Yeah, once again, the Zac doesn't get the engage, but he forces Doinby to run forwards. You got a Quadra kill from Knight in this fight as well, but the reason he gets the Quadra is Yoon's pulverizing them, Xiao's flash ulting them into the wall, and the carries of Sunin have the easiest job of their life right now in this game.
And again, going back to Rogue Warriors, no tempo picked up in this match. Looking like to be another disaster for them. SMLZ trying to farm top side of the map, still sitting on just the Blade of the Ruined King, waiting to complete his first Zeal item. He's looking across from a 3 completed item Ezreal, and Knight as well, Trinity Force, Rapid Fire Cannon, even that QSS for safety. Now has the package.
They know Knight's there.
Mouse can take quite a bit of damage. Wow, Knight just obliterating him for now. Will get knocked back by the ultimate. Flawless is going to show himself. Mouse is low. Knight gets the solo kill, trying to get out of there. He might just do it. Doinby's trying to wrap around. Knight trying to set out Flawless. He goes for it. He gets the double kill. Outplayed them 3-on-1. Knight, what a god.
And he just gets to walk away. Alistar comes in. The reinforcements are there. Knight is huge right now. 9-0 and 2 and Suning Gaming off the back of their mid lane to just win everything.
No matter how far ahead you are, you're up against a Kha'Zix on and a Malzahar. You get out alive, you get 2 kills. That is a fantastic play from Knight. He's continuing through in the bottom lane. They have the Baron buff to work with. Xiao Ao still on the top side of the map, pushing down top lane outer turret. Tian is in the mid lane, split pushing with super minions where that inhibitor turret has fallen. This is a near flawless game for Suning.
It certainly is. You want 1 kill for Rogue Warriors and they might feel better about themselves, but they've been completely bled out. The goal difference is blown out of proportion here. You're just waiting for the game to end, honestly, but we want to watch Knight. We want to watch him get the 1v2. He's on a ward. Knight doesn't know it. What Knight does know is that he can 1v1 Mouse very successfully. Flawless is meant to have a lot of damage, but he doesn't get straight into the fight, doesn't use the jump. And by the time that happens, Knight's already got 1 kill. QSS jumps away and just sits here with the Gatling gun in the queue. Has no idea where he is, but educated guesses, of course, of an invisible Kha'Zix who's probably next to me.
Well, getting back into this game, Suning will be able to take down mid lane inhibitor turret. Top lane inhibitor falls. Bottom lane inhibitor is already down. 3 inhibitors are going to fall 23 minutes into this match against Rogue Warriors, and they are already marching towards the Nexus.
With the Baron buff still available, I feel like they're just going to start hitting those turrets, and Rogue Warriors have one last desperation fight in the tank. Now, I don't think it'll win Fish, but they will try.
Oh, it's going to be Suning to try to force first. Tian jumps in, instantly locked down by Doinby. That's not really the target you're going to look for as the Malzahar. Flawless now trying to get him big. Double pulverize coming out from Yoon. Flawless forced to back away. Suning still playing this one nice and safe. Kahlua jumps in, gets the stun onto Yoon. He pops his own ultimate. Tian now charging back in. Fury looking for some extra damage as well. Second Nexus turret is going to fall. Suning already on the Nexus with their super minions. Yoon pops the stopwatch. He may be the first casualty for Suning as he comes back out of stasis. They knock down every single turret inside of Rogue Warriors base, but Rogue Warriors holding on for their dear lives. Mouse gonna try and push forward on top of Knight. He flashes away. Xiao's going over the wall, looking for more. Knight gets the first kill. Doiby takes a chunk of damage. That's a double for the Corki. Kalua gonna go down. That's the triple. Flawless hops away, gets into the fountain, just back out. Quadra kill picked up as the Nexus falls. Suning take down Rogue Warriors.
Knight was seeing penta kills, but the game ends first, and Suning Gaming just dismantle Rogue Warriors. Not a single sign of life in the system comparatively. I mean, they went down fighting, but it felt like a little kid being held at arm's reach by a full-grown adult in that game. A whole different echelon of play.
Absolutely beautiful coming from Suning in this first match against Rogue Warriors. We already mentioned at the start of this cast, Rusty, what this best of 3 series means. Suning currently 2-0 in the East Conference, really looking like East Conference contenders. Rogue Warriors, impressive start, however still 1-1. They need this win to not only knock Suning down, but also propel themselves further forward.
And we just saw so many individual great things from Suning Gaming. And once again, when you look at Rogue Warriors as a roster, you say their individual players are highly skilled, but their team cohesion is something that may well be lacking. Well, if they're losing individually, they don't even get a chance to practice team cohesion. And SNG just picked them apart from lane phase. And that just went through to the rest of the game. It carried over in a super successful game closeout from them with that lead, and that's impressive from SNG.
It was clinical and an absolute shellacking at that from Suning Gaming, able to take down Rogue Warriors in decisive out. Almost a perfect game, Rusty. Besides that really nice